Greetings and salutations, folks. My name is Nick, and welcome to the Xbox Developer Direct, where I already actually know about one of the things that they announced today because it's been a couple days since the Direct has came out, and that is that a developer who is primarily known for making first-person games is making a first-person game based on Indiana Jones, and some people are apparently unhappy that a first-person developer is making first-person games. Which, I don't know how shocking that needs to be, although you could say that it's more towards, like, why did the people who have the license to Indiana Jones hire a developer that made first-person games to make a first-person Indiana Jones game? But essentially, like, a lot of the arguments about that is how it'll essentially stand out more against the marketplace that has been making third-person Indiana Jones-like games already, like the Tomb Raider games, Uncharted, any other third-person game where you climb. Oh, why, thank you for inviting me.
Our upcoming fantasy action RPG.
I've seen the key art for Avowed, and it does look pretty awesome.
Adventure into the heart of the living lands, a frontier at the edge of the known world, where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague and discover a secret at the heart of the living lands.
There would have to be a secret. You can't just not have a secret.
Dynamic gameplay and thoughtful reactivity.
For a second, I thought they were showing gameplay of Avowed, but that was just gameplay of other games they made.
To blend the believable and fantastical, to give players a world and experience like no other. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's strange. It's one of the most incredible settings in the world of Aora. There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character, and you're going to have a great time getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk more about Avowed's combat is Gabriel Paramo, gameplay director.
Here at Obsidian, our team's overarching goal is to empower.
Is there a bigger theme now about regards to first-person melee combat?
From spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine
I feel like
attacks,
you even have guns. I feel like one of the things that
against
this
a
game is
wide range of
probably going to be
enemy
compared
types.
to a lot is
It's
Skyrim.
not just hacking
But
and slashing.
as long as
You're
the
making
game,
real-time
as the
decisions
combat
about
is
when to use
actually
your
good,
abilities,
like that's
powerful
all
melee
they really
attacks,
have to do
blocks,
to make it
parries,
a better experience. Because like for all of what Skyrim does in regards to exploration of the world,
with a one-handed wand, it feels quick
like the
and
combat
snappy when
in
dealing
Elder
damage to
Scrolls
enemies
games
at
have
mid-range.
never
Using
been
the Tanglefoot
particularly
ability, you can
good.
stop enemies in their tracks, giving you the opportunity to focus on weaker or tougher combatants in an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to
Maybe
the types of enemies
Daggerfall.
you're dealing with.
I'll take
Some
it back
units
for
are extremely
Daggerfall.
defensive, some are brutishly difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize, or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot.
But I remember playing Oblivion, and in Oblivion, like, I would explore the world, did all those like side missions, then I started a new game just for the main quest, because by the time you get really high leveled, every villain's resistance just becomes ridiculously high. Like that seems to be the only thing that changes as you level up.
Wand to freeze enemies, and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them. We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will have ample choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the living lands as they get to know the game and the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences, like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the living lands.
I like the phrasing,
As you're
may
exploring,
encounter.
You come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone, is at fault.
Oh.
Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. training under Captain Ruiki, trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
In other words, you're a gang of vigilantes. Not that I'm one to judge.
Here, take my badge. Take everyone's. Our families deserve to know we fought and died for them.
Making the right choice isn't always what it seems. We embrace moral nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
My squad and I rested in the cave by the water last night, and as we were sleeping, we were ambushed by those miserable Zorips.
Not the Zorips.
It was so dark. I just got separated from everyone else. Look, I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you? What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault.
He does not seem particularly trustworthy.
They should have never have camped in the cave. I'll take the badges. I'm going back to Thirdborn.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest. Creating an immersive experience.
No, I do
like
not
that
want to
is
face the
anchored in
consequences of my
Art director Matt
actions.
Hansen and the team have worked to create a unique, colorful, and dynamic visual style.
And it looks great.
From the outset, we knew
Although
that we
right now
wanted
we've only
Val's
kind of seen the
setting
desert
to
regions,
feel
but still, it
rich,
looks fantastic.
weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique RPG experience. By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players.
And it allows those
The Living
vibrant
Lands
spaces
is a
to stand
continent
out
of
more, to
untamed
pop.
valleys with widely
Like, one of the
varied
things that
biomes,
was really
from
kind of
luxuriant forests
successful
to
about
volcanic
Fallout New
wastes.
Vegas
And each of
was when
those
you actually
regions itself
see
is a conflux of storied landscapes.
New Vegas
All
in
of
the
regions
distance, and
have
all you
a
see
lot
is
of
these
special
bright
things
lights.
associated with them.
And
But I
that
have a
really
deep
kind of
place
like
in my heart
popped
for
in the
Shatterscarp.
landscape.
As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure, and even a little danger.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more
It
about
looks
the
neat.
game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to explore the Living Lands when Avowed launches this fall.
I don't know if I'm really that big into the name, The Living Lands. Like, does that mean the Earth itself is alive? A la Bugsnax? Or are they talking in regards to the spiritual plague that's damaging everything? But no, everything else looks pretty solid. Ooh, it's coming out this year. And on Game Pass. Maybe I'll even have time to play it. If I'm not playing Clive Barker's Jericho. I don't know who Oxide is. And then Ninja Theory, of course, has got Hellblade 2 coming out, which they've already kind of announced that Hellblade 2 is going to be a relatively short game, which I'm fine with. Like, Hellblade 1, I felt actually overstayed its welcome towards the middle.
Ninja Theory in
Like, when the
Cambridge,
combat disappears
We're
and
now
it's
in the final
just
months of
puzzles.
development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival, where we have once again combined high fidelity and immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about, and that we hope you care about too.
Also coming to Game Pass, which I've more or less slotted into my schedule just so I could play it.
Senua is back with a new quest.
The
She wants to
actress
stop
who
the
plays...
Vikings who raided her village right
I
at
forget
their
what
source
her
in
position
Iceland.
was in Hellblade
But
1.
not just her quest
Like, she
has
wasn't
changed.
initially supposed to
Senua
be
herself has grown since
Senua.
the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique
So,
perspective,
like, the
and
first
others who
one
will reject it.
kind of ended
Little
with
by
her
little,
death? It
This
seems...
settlement.
Like, I was not expecting Hellblade 2 to be a
Became my
direct
trial.
sequel, considering... Well, we'll see
In
how
the
this
game,
one picks
Senua
up after.
arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the
Picks
story,
up from
we're trying
part
to
one.
be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top. Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover. Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Like, I wonder how the combat is going to be affected in this sequel,
Senua
because,
is
like,
a
the
Celtic
combat in
warrior
part
who
1 was
experiences
very, very
psychosis.
focused,
Seeing things
especially
that other
on, like, a
people don't,
one-to-one
hearing
fight.
voices and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once
And if
again
there's
worked
going to be a
closely
little
with
bit more
Professor
variety in
Fletcher
regards to its
at the
puzzles, because
University of
Hellblade 1
Cambridge,
had kind
as
of
well
like the
as people with
same
lived experience of psychosis.
puzzle over and over again.
What does that mean? It's terrifying.
Players will find themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level. With a new motion capture space, a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
We spent a lot of time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this fight. Like, how can we make this fight feel different from the previous fight? We have all new combat for the sequel. One of our key goals was the ability to actually tell a story throughout it. It does
And
feel
that's
very
always
different
kind
from
of
the
like
first
one of the
game,
difficulties
but
in a lot of
it's
video games,
very
is how
brutal
do you
and you're
connect
very
the
invested in it.
storytelling to the gameplay?
Senua isn't a
There's always
superhero.
that kind
She's
of
fighting for survival, and we want the player to
what
feel her
ludonarrative
struggle in
dissonance.
every step of her journey. We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
Mel knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces, and then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again, in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief and pull you into Senua's story. We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently, and a part of this manifests in the voices she hears.
Which we've seen in part 1, and was amazing in
These
part 1
voices
already.
come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience.
So basically, like, if you notice, like, I've got one of my headphones off my ear. The main reason is because it's easier for me to talk and hear the volume of myself. And I do that while playing any game that I play on this channel. I might have to sacrifice my awareness on how loud I'm talking to better experience the music and sound in this game.
It really connects with our game and elevates it to something really special. We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own Furies. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory
and definitely
is to
probably made a very
craft
unique
life-changing
experience for
art
people
with
doing the
game-changing
voices of
tech.
the Furies.
And that's our
Like
aim
how
in
many
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is to not
voice acting
only
jobs
see
also
where Senua
make it
goes
important to
next,
determine
but to deliver
where
something
the direction of the
really
audio is
meaningful
coming
for our
from.
players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right?
Okay, it's
she
too late.
Exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua.
But there is
and
something to be said in
we are
regards to
creating
any
this
time you're
character
trying to
that
create
grows and
something,
grows and grows
you
and
cannot
grows and
create
keep
something
growing
from a
and keep changing.
vacuum.
So
It needs to be
that
pulled
makes it
from
real.
something.
I'm so proud of the love, care, and passion our team here
And
at Ninja
there's
Theory
almost
are
no
putting into
avoiding
Senua's Saga
putting
Hellblade
yourself
2.
into your creative
Our
work.
hope is to not only create a game
To
that
claim
is great
that
to
you
play,
are,
but to craft an
you as a
experience
developer
that leaves you
are
thinking
Senua.
and feeling.
Like,
From our combat
I would
gameplay
say,
through
I would
to
give
our
that
action set
some.
pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey. A journey
I would
that
respect
you
the
can
claim
embark
simply
on
because, like,
on
you
May
cannot make a
21st.
creative work without drawing from yourself in some respect, whether it is you, the experiences you had, or the experiences you saw someone had. Like, it is going to be pulling from your memories, your experiences, regardless. I don't know who Oxide is. Unknown user. I do not know who unknown user is either. Oh, hello, Square. Why do I feel like this is familiar too? Like they showed this at the Game Awards. Also, I don't even mind, like, I don't like these deeper dives, even if it's just someone talking while key art is in the background. I feel like that's a little bit more interesting than any CG trailer, because a CG trailer doesn't necessarily tell you. Oh yeah, Visions of Mana. They did show that at Game Awards. It doesn't really tell you how the experience will actually be. Sometimes there's a lot of variation between the gameplay experience and the narrative and the CG trailer that was presented. Some of these differences are incredibly disparate, like Dead Island 1 was. But most of the time, like, you have like Elder Scrolls Online, where you have like big cinematic trailer, but the gameplay experience, the MMO experience doesn't necessarily highlight that as much. Once more, vibrant environments, big waterfalls. Not quite as HD, not quite as photorealistic, but like there is definitely an attempt to make it more. I was gonna say like the style of the artist of the Mana series.
Hello, I am Koichi Shi from Grabs. I am so happy to introduce the newest game in the Mana series to Xbox players. 初期の頃からシリーズ作品に登場しているモンスターたちは私が考案したものですが、 中には小学生の頃、すでにイメージができていたものもあります。今作では、初めはドット絵からスタートしたモンスターたちをどのような形で最新化して聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナに落とし込むか、デザインの方向性からモデルの完成イメージまでを監修する立場でプロジェクトに参加しました。
Question: Are all of the monsters in this game adorable?
作っていた頃から自分の頭の中ではモンスターたちは立体的に生き生きと
Even the skeleton is
これま
adorable.
で自分が携わった作品ではそれらをどうやって当時の技術で表現できるかにこだわって作ってきました。
Maybe not the eye thing. Maybe not the scorpion thing.
ただ可愛いだけではなく
There you go.
恐ろしさの部分もしっかりと表現できているので、バトル中はモンスターたちの表情にも注目してください。
これまで聖剣伝説シリーズには空を旅する海を渡る手助けをしてくれる頼もしい仲間たちがいましたが、今作には広大なフィールド探検に欠かせない新たな仲間が登場します。陸上を猛スピードで駆け回ってくれるピックルも石井さんが新たに考案してくださっています。
新たな仲間を考えるにあたっては
I appreciate the fact that the mount can actually participate in the fight itself, especially since I've been playing Dragon Age Inquisition right now, and the mounts are just kind of there for movement. They don't really do anything for the fight.
古代エジプト神のアヌビスの子供といった具体的なイメージが浮かんできて、それぞれの特徴を取り入れながらラフデザインを書き起こしました。デザイナーにもアイデアを出してもらいながら、足の長さや丸まった時のイメージなどゲームの中での見え方も考えながら調整を重ねていき、ピックルは誕生しました。
The pickles,
もう一つの挑戦は
like exposed teeth are
さまざま
adorable.
なコンポーザーが携わられた楽曲の雰囲気が感じられつつも、最新作として素晴らしい新たな楽曲が生まれました。
Now the real question is, will you confront Santa Claus, and will Santa Claus be using the power of the seeds of mana to try to bring back the people's belief in Christmas, just like he did in Secrets of Mana?
新たな試みとしてフィールドの探索から
Secret.
バトルまでをシーム
I
レス
still
に
need to
体
play
験できる
more of that series. Like, I've only played Secret of Mana and Secret of Evermore. Legend of Mana is one of my friend's favorite games, and it's like like a very interesting experimental game that I really need to kind of sit down and play through. That is an extended jump. And once again, kind of like Avowed, is like there's this desire to combine the melee, the magic, create this kind of like balance between these two types of attacks. Although there's more aerial attacks, though. I was gonna say, like, aerial attacks sometimes are always limiting because like you remain stationary in the sky. But there does seem like an interesting ability to dash while in midair, so that you're always still on the move.
その効果とともに聖剣伝説の世界らしい不思議な力で爽快なバトルを楽しんでいただけます。
オリジナルモンスターやピックルにも注目してほしいのですが、聖剣伝説ビジョンズ
Now then, are there going to be allies who fight alongside you, or is it just the pickle mounts that you ride?
チームのみんなが頑張って作ってくれていますので、ぜひ発売日を楽しみに待っていてください。私自身もプレイするのを楽しみにしています。
聖剣伝説シリーズとして初めて Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにお届けする本作聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナは今後も様々な情報をお届けしていきますので、ぜひご期待ください。この夏、この忘れられない冒険を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんに楽しんでいただける日が今から待ちきれません。
All right, best of luck to Visions of Mana. I don't know how easily I'm going to be jumping into this game. Like, I feel like I've skipped a lot of the Tales games for almost similar reasons. And what is oxide?
Hello, and welcome to Oxide Games. We founded the studio in 2013 with our decades of personal experience building some of the most beloved strategy games of all time, like Civilization V. We came together to create something new and innovative in a genre we all love. Ara History Untold is the game we've dreamt of making.
Ara is an homage to historical gamers, strategy gamers, 4X gamers. It features all the depth and gameplay fans of this genre love, where you'll explore the world, expand your nation, govern your people, and engage with your rivals on the international stage. But it isn't just more of the same. With Ara, we wanted to challenge some of the preconceived notions about the genre, push it forward in a modern, empowering, and truly compelling and approachable way.
For example, we have over 100 instruments on display in the office, which are all things that we purchased in order to add to the soundtrack and expand the game and make it really good. Hi, Dan. That's Dan. We started in his basement. It's been an amazing process to see from concept to completion. We started small, building a robust game engine, questioning our design assumptions, and prototyping out features, rediscovering what made us fall in love.
That is an excellent time to be questioning your design.
The end result is Ara, the historical grand strategy game that presents a living world where you can rule how you want to rule and chart your own path to becoming the most prestigious nation on the planet.
For Ara, we knew we needed deep systems with outcomes that encourage exploration and give players the power to experiment and make meaningful strategic choices while still having agency over their playstyle.
We also wanted to explore more in different parts of history and give players from around the world the chance to see the game reflect their unique perspective and not just ours.
And finally, we knew that for players to feel the impact of their decisions, they would need to see their choices reflected in the game world itself, not just through numbers on a menu. One of the first differences you'll see when you dive into Ara is what we call the living world. It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life, an intuitive,
what were we saying about living?
Space, a blank canvas for players to
living
paint the
worlds?
society of their dreams.
The living world isn't just a map. It reflects the choices players make over the course of the game. They can see everything from the settling of the wilderness to cultural influence on architecture over time to the thousands of citizens living their lives and reacting to the changes. We want players to feel like they're truly occupying the world, leading their people as they thrive and grow.
That way you actually see your civilization change over time, as opposed to like this is stage 1, this is civilization stage 2.
Players will compete with their rivals to build the most
By the way, the last
impressive,
civilization game I
nation
really
the
got
world has
into
ever
was, I think, Civilization
by prestige,
2.
the player's score
I
that
might have
proves
played
their work
Civilization 4 for like a minute,
prestige
but that's
system
about
gives
it. So
players the chance
I don't
to
know if
decide what
the
kind
Civ
of leader
series
they
has
want to be.
gone
They
in
want
a
to
different
pursue great
direction
works of
since
arts and
then.
culture. Military might. Scientific advancement. The choice is theirs. In Ara, there are no set victory
Does this mean that the
conditions.
Mecha Warriors
Players get to
have not been
decide what is
designed
most
yet?
important to them and
We only
focus
have
and
the concept
prioritize on
art.
those goals while still being able to win the game.
Personally, when I play Ara, I like to build triumphs. Triumphs are our collection of incredible monuments and architectural achievements from throughout human history, like the Great Pyramid of Giza.
I forget what they
Build,
called those
but worth
in
it,
Civilization.
giving huge prestige bonuses and game-changing abilities to
So
the
they
nation that
don't
constructs them.
throw out everything
Another
that
aspect
came
of Ara
before.
that I'm personally excited about is our crafting system.
The crafting system offers a unique challenge to the player that they
Yeah,
generally
it's
won't
kind
see
of
within
interesting
the
that you
4X
present
genre.
this trailer as
Succeeding
like we're
at
trying to go
balancing,
against
gathering the right
the
things, turning them into the tools
the
that you
things
need, and
everybody
then
assumed
finally
a
getting to the
4X
outcome
Civ game
or
is going to
reward of
have.
something like an important improvement
But
or
my
triumph,
favorite thing is the
which
thing that's
changes
been
the
in every
challenge that
Civilization
exists in
game
Ara
since part
compared to
1.
other 4X games.
Crafting plays out in Ara at a national scale, with players honing and combining the natural resources they harvest into all manner of goods and components. Those are the foundation for everything, from international trade to improving their cities and citizens' lives, and even manufacturing
Is this a
weapons
Canadian
necessary
game?
to draft military units. The crafting system in Ara encourages thoughtful, advanced planning. It rewards players who can see the strategic outcome of all their collective decisions, and not just the individual ones.
I'm proud of the work that's gone into our simultaneous turn system. Many strategy games have players alternate taking turns and reacting to their opponent's moves. In Ara, all players' actions are resolved at the same time. This rewards players' ability to navigate uncertainty, to predict and strategically plan for a variety of scenarios in the moment. This
Because,
system makes Ara just feel more
like in real life, people aren't
In a
moving
typical
in
strategy game,
turns. They're
once your turn is finished, you
moving
have to
at
wait
the
for a
same
long
time.
With simultaneous turns, generally speaking, those times are very low.
The military
You
is
get to
not
keep
waiting
playing
for the
the
other
game
military
and
to
stay
act.
engaged rather than having those periods of downtime where you're not doing anything.
It definitely makes any
It's not
like
easy sifting
combat a
through
little bit
all of
more
history
complex.
and picking what to include. For Ara, we wanted to offer a fresh perspective, so we looked at cultures and societies throughout the millennia with the broadest lens possible.
Where this approach really shines is in our leaders. Leaders are so often seen as military personnel or prominent government figures, but leaders come in so many different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific and cultural prodigies, and many more.
Each leader in Ara has a
I mean,
number of
if
special
Abraham
abilities
Lincoln is
determined
going
by
to
their
lead a
personality
dictatorship
traits,
in
as well as a powerful and
civilization,
unique
you
leader
might as
trait
well just
informed by
have a
their
lot of
contributions
different
to world
notable
history.
people in that
With a
culture
diverse
be
global
the
roster,
standout
we know
leader
players
of
will
that
find leaders that they will
civilization
want
over
to play.
time.
And even a few that may surprise them with how fun it is when those leaders are handed the reins of power.
For us at Oxide, player feedback is the only way to really understand what you're making. It gives us that priceless perspective from the people we're making Ara for, you.
Building the game alongside real players has given us that critical player feedback. In the end, we believe this makes for a deeper connection between the players and the game.
One of my favorite examples is when we first introduced the concept of dangerous wildlife to the game. It turns out, in our first iteration, it was maybe a little bit too aggressive or disruptive. We knew we should probably make a change when one of our insiders made a forum post that was just,
Cougars, cougars,
Cougars, I hate cougars!
"Someone get these feline demons away from me." I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of mountain lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other. And we're so excited that we can finally see the finish line. We can't wait for players to get their hands on the game later this year.
But the launch of Ara is only the beginning. We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for joining us today. We can't wait for you to play Ara and to create your own history.
I admit I'm also not really that big into the 4X genre. Like, I've played Rebellion on this channel, but I feel like that focus on Star Wars Rebellion was largely because of nostalgia from having it as a kid. Like, it wasn't necessarily because Star Wars Rebellion is that much better of a 4X game than other ones. It's all the nostalgia. And now on to Indie, featuring the voice of Troy Baker, the likeness of Harrison Ford. And, I forget the name of the actress who plays as...
Uppsala, Sverige, här hos Machine Games. We are really
as
excited to
the
finally
love interest
share
of Raiders of
our
the
work
Lost
on
Ark, who
Indiana
I also
Jones.
forget the name of.
Since the first film came out, Indiana Jones has always represented the ultimate adventure. Even today, it's one of the most iconic franchises in pop culture. In this game, you aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones. You will see through his eyes and experience a journey that we hope lives up to the proud legacy of Indiana Jones. When Todd Howard first told us about his vision for the game, we knew we would be a very good fit to help bring it to life.
I've wanted to make an Indiana Jones game forever. I'd had this idea for what it would be like and the story, what Indy was going after, what period of his life it was in, what kind of arc he was going to have. And as the years went on, I thought, who would be like the best studio in the world to make this? And
that
it was my
Bethesda
friends
also
at
has
Machine
access to.
I can remember
That is
pitching
also an
Lucasfilm
important
the
part.
game and being, a little bit nervous because, look, it's, Indiana Jones, and their response was just overwhelmingly positive, and just that excitement has bled through the whole project, and they have just been so trusting and supportive of everything that we want to do with the game. It's been a long time. I've been a fan of this my whole life, and I couldn't be more excited to show you what the team here has been up to. Let's take our first look at the new Indiana Jones game.
I've avoided seeing the trailer, though.
I'm missing Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Myths. History. Just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried. Just waiting to be found.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Oh, yeah?
Watch me.
I was gonna say, watch me try.
Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
I mean, it wouldn't be an Indiana Jones game without solid punching sound effects. You need those solid punches.
Patron of the fallen angels, protector of the Chukulimani, the Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
I don't know how like, and the Great Circle.
Indiana Jones is such an iconic character.
I'll accept
and he
it.
means so much to so many people. Everyone here at the studio has their own indie stories and memories. Most of us grew up with his adventures and have
But
been
it seems
fans
like a
of the
very
movies and the
simplistic
characters for
shape to
years.
choose for the title.
He's a brilliant archaeologist, he's a charismatic everyman, he's passionate and determined. And for us, he's synonymous with adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that best through first person. It's the ideal perspective
Once
to bring you
again,
into the rich, exciting, and interactive world
First
we built.
developer of first-person
We believe
games
that being
making a
up close
first-person
and
game.
personal to the adventure is
Like-
key, making each action feel like your own.
Like, I remember that
Whether it's
Bungie was
cracking a
actually
whip,
planning to make a third-person
solving
game
puzzles in
for
ancient
Destiny.
temples,
But they
seeing
realized
miracles
they
go
didn't
bloody
have
into
experience
all
making
of these
third-person
moments
games.
are much more
And all of their
intense in first
tools
person.
are for
But we
first-person
still
games.
want you to have
So
those
they were like,
moments. Seeing
I
his
guess we'll
iconic
make another
silhouette with
first-person
the
game.
hat and the whip. And so for things like cutscenes and environmental traversal, we pull the camera back for a third-person view.
A classic
Indiana
choice.
Jones and the Great Circle is set between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
Something's missing
When our
from
game
this
begins,
timeline.
Indiana is working at Marshall College. He wakes up in the middle of the night to the sounds of a break-in and rushes to confront the thief in the college museum. The mysterious giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's curiosity.
Who the hell are you?
Following the trail, Indiana heads to the Vatican hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen, and discovers that things aren't what they appear.
He starts pulling at the strings of a mystery, and it all unravels until he has no choice but to see it through to the end, whatever the end may be.
next plane to Rome? Stop. Need help? Stop. Meet me in Vatican? Stop. Indy.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles when we were thinking about the type of game we were making. It wouldn't be Indy if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic
And I suppose
Indiana
also
Jones
like the presentation of these puzzles in first person
first.
would be a little bit different than like the third person
there will
aspect.
be some obstacles that will be more easily overcome with the revolver or a gun taken from a disarmed guard. But I think most of the time you'll have more fun and, to be honest, a more genuine indie experience by
Yeah,
finding
it has
more
to be a
clever ways
balanced
to solve the
indie.
problem.
Like otherwise,
We
it's just
always want to be
Wolfenstein if you're
offering
just
more
shooting
solutions,
guys the
whether
whole
it's
time.
trying a different path through the environment to get around enemies, observing enemy patrols and using them to your advantage, or using the tools at your disposal, like the whip.
It's an amazing global adventure with action propelling you through your journey.
We have these really diverse environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the
Excellent
pyramids of
concept art.
Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location and the time period the game is set in, and we're trying to make it as authentic and accurate as possible.
We love creating rich, vibrant worlds, and in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
One of the biggest ways to do that is with the music. John Williams is the original composer for the indie films, and we're really lucky to have found Gordy Hub, a composer who's been able to capture Williams' essence with his score for The Great Circle.
We also take a very movie-like approach to things like cinematics. We're very physical with our production style. We use a lot of stunt actors. Things like this help us bridge the gap between making a game and making a movie.
And of course, our characters do a lot to help bring the world to life.
Just
as
a
well.
lot of
Next
excuses to
Indy,
throw
Gina
Troy
is our
Baker
other main
around, I
protagonist.
guess.
Where Indy is pursuing answers just for the sake of curiosity, Gina has a personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Gina is an investigative reporter who has a lot riding on this adventure. She's been tracking a lead for some time, and now she's found an ally in this determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other in order to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
Fine. What do you mean if I can keep up?
We always love our villains and think we might have found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss. He's this intensely psychological man. He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating it.
He's highly intelligent.
Like when he has the
and
bandage
perfect
over his
boyfriend.
nose in that previous
They're both
cinematic they
brilliant
showed,
people
like
compelled
that
by
just
the
seems like
passions
one
and
of the most
obsessions,
Indiana
but
Jones
driven down
villains
wildly
of all
different
time.
roads.
He creeps up on you and gets
Yeah.
under your skin like he gets under Indy's skin. It's captivating.
Dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
One of our mottos for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is adventure first. But in every indie adventure, there are always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
That's been one of those balancing acts for us, and we've ended up with this sort of
And
hybrid
Uncharted has
experience
also
that makes
found
us
itself
melee
having to
combat,
deal with that
stealth,
balancing
and
act as well. Like Uncharted 1 tried to have its
approach any
balancing
given
act between
situation is
action
up to you.
and adventure.
You may choose to
Uncharted
sneak
2
around an enemy patrol,
did pretty
or
well
maybe
in
you
regards
just
to
pick
that.
up a
Uncharted
shovel and
3
whack
felt
them
like
in
it
the back of
lost
the
its
head.
balance.
when you can't
Not
do
necessarily
this,
in a
you got
in a
Indy's
bad
most
way, but
iconic
Uncharted 3 was very
Just
much
like you see in the
action
movies, one of our
and then a
goals has
little
been
bit of
to make the
adventure.
whip as fun and multi-purposed as possible.
Like
We want
there's
to
just a
integrate it
lot of
into every
action
aspect of the game.
in
use
in
it
Uncharted
as a
3, and then
traversal
Uncharted
tool
4
to make your
felt
way
like
around the
more of a
environment.
balance between action,
You can use it
adventure,
as a distraction.
exploration, story. Everything kind of had its moment.
And yes, you can absolutely use it in combat.
I would hope so.
Everything you'd expect from Indy's whip, and hopefully a little bit more. Puzzles are a key feature in our game. The spirit of discovery is so important to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them. Epic
So what do you
traps,
get out of them?
Small secrets.
If
and
they're
hidden
optional puzzles
that
in
blend
a
right in with their
narrative-driven game,
One thing I love about our game is the level of
is it just for the
interactivity that we have.
achievements?
We have this world of mystery where anything could potentially hide a secret. The more you look, the more you'll discover.
Boulders. It had to be boulders.
I want to thank you all for joining us for our big reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Machine Games is known for creating these roller coaster experiences with huge set pieces, surprising twists, and immersive narratives. It's exciting for us that we have been able to stay so true to the Indiana Jones franchise and create such an authentic experience while still being able to showcase what makes us us. We are making a game for everyone, whether you are very familiar with the franchise or not. Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think that's something everyone wants to be part of. I'm also very excited to announce that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year, and we cannot wait to share more soon.
Looks cool. I'm on board. I like Machine Games' previous one. Like, the only Machine Games thing that I did not care for was Wolfenstein Youngblood. But that, the scope of the game was too small for the ideas that they tried to have. And it ended up with a game that had a big story at the beginning of the game, big story at the end of the game, and then just kind of a lot of muddling in the middle. I was gonna say, I like the idea of having these more focused directs, but I also wonder exactly what
game developers.
what could these more
mission here at Ninja Theory is
expanded
to
directs?
changing art
How
with
are those going to be
game-changing
able to actually showcase more indie games as well? Because that's one of the big things about the hour-long or series of trailers, where you'll have maybe 3-minute trailers rather than more expanded views. Usually has at least a couple minutes for indie games. How do you get indie games to stand out when you're also having these 45-minute long directs where you're only focusing on 5 games? Is there even a thing that has an indie showcase like this, where it's just we need to focus on the smaller games rather than just the big titles? But then again, the big titles are the ones that are going to be costing Microsoft the most money. The amount of money that they are putting into, say, how they purchased Bethesda, how they purchased Obsidian. But no, looks good. We're good. We don't need to worry about what's going on in Elder Scrolls Online. Oof. What are your thoughts on these gameplay reveals? Let them know in comments below. Otherwise, have yourselves a good night.